Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this select committee hearing. I know all of us are really concerned about Minnesotans at this time. First, we were afflicted with this pandemic and experiencing a public health crisis and an economic crisis. And then with the death of George Floyd on May 25th, significant additional hardships in the lives of Minnesotans. We planned this hearing before the George Floyd death occurred, and our intent was to focus on Minnesota businesses and how they're handling COVID-19, to hear from the administration the considerations that they're taking into account as they make decisions. But as we go to Commissioner Grove to testify in a couple of minutes, I would like to ask him to tell us a little bit about the preliminary work that DEED has done to investigate the economic hardship in Minneapolis and St. Paul and other areas of the state, to the extent that there are. Before we get to that, we have a couple of procedural issues. There are minutes that were circulated by the committee administrator. If somebody would like to move the minutes. Representative Carlson, that looked like you were moving the minutes. Can the committee administrator unmute him?
I think he may need to unmute himself. I'm trying to.
Okay. There we go. Representative, one more time. If you can hit that button one more time. You had it, and then you were remuted. There we go.
I never knew the minutes would be so complicated.
No, me neither, but go for it.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'd like to move the minutes from our previous meeting.
Okay, and members, you can unmute yourself. My understanding is we get to do a voice vote on this. So all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The minutes are adopted. The committee legislative assistant will take the roll.
Speaker Hartman.
Aye.
Majority Leader Winkler.
Aye.
Minority Leader Doubt. Representative Baker.
Aye.
Representative Carlson.
Lyndon, Representative Carlson, we need you to unmute yourself to say aye.
Yeah, I had never muted myself, but anyway, aye.
Representative Garofalo.
Yes.
Representative Jurgens.
Aye.
Representative Lislegard.
Aye.
Representative Mahoney.
Aye.
Representative Noor.
Aye.
And Minority Leader Doubt.
I may have missed it. Ms. Larson, did you call Representative Jurgens?
Yes, I got him.
Okay, great. So we've got everybody accounted for the moment except for the minority leader.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll go ahead and proceed. Commissioner Grove, I want to thank you so much for being with us. I know you've been working incredible hours since the coronavirus hit the state, and even more so in recent days with recent events. Generally, my approach for folks on the call who are new to me chairing a hearing is I let the presenter give the entire presentation and then take questions at the end of the presentation. So Commissioner Grove, if you could just address at the outset some of the preliminary work that you've been doing to take a look at the response to George Floyd's death and the economic damage that DEED is considering helping with in some way in the future. And then proceed to give us your the information that we asked about with regard to the things that the federal government, the state government have done to help businesses, and the considerations you're making as you decide which portions of the economy will be open and how much in response to the coronavirus. So thank you, and please proceed.
Great. Thank you, Madam Speaker, members of the committee. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all today. And I'm eager to share with you what we've been working on at Deed. Many of you know a lot of this because we've been doing it hand in hand from the very beginning. But many of you, I'm sure, have questions. So I will try to keep my statement as brief as possible so we can hear what's on all of your minds. As the speaker said, the world has changed since we had originally set up this hearing. In fact, I think we delayed it a week given the events of last week as well. And so I am eager to talk a little bit about what we've been doing this first week to respond to the situation on the ground in the Twin Cities in the aftermath of George Floyd's murder. I've been out on Lake Street and in other parts of Minneapolis and in St. Paul with several of you here on the call, touring the districts and seeing some of the damage that has unfolded, and it's devastating. I think we all know that. We've seen it firsthand. I think we're only beginning to understand the full scope of exactly what's taken place. There's still security concerns, obviously. Those are waning with each day, but they are still very real. But it is no time like the present to begin looking at what rebuilding looks like. And I'll just say that DEED as a state agency is really intending to follow the lead of community leaders and businesses in terms of what the needs are. We want to partner with, obviously, city officials on this in both Minneapolis and St. Paul, but also with state legislators. And so it's very much a spirit of partnership in this conversation. And we're both looking at what are the existing tools we have that we can put into play? What are the federal tools that we might be able to take advantage of? But then also, what are the new tools that we need? Because this is a pretty unprecedented situation that we're facing, and we don't think that we're going to be able to respond to it with just the existing things that we have at our disposal. And so we are working very closely on a disaster declaration to unlock federal assistance from the SBA. We're working with local city officials on the details of that, but it's a critical step that is required in the same way that we did for COVID to ensure we could take advantage of, for example, SBA resources at a greater degree, et cetera. So there's that federal component that we're actively working on. We are working with our congressional delegation on what state and federal requests for assistance funding could look like. There's been some exploration of what appropriation bonds could do here. Again, early conversations, but looking at what might be possible there. And then, on the front of existing tools, one of the best tools we have for small businesses in the country is the small business development centers that provide technical assistance and guidance to small businesses who are trying to get off the ground. And Minnesota has one of the most robust SBDC networks in the country. DEED is the administrator of it, but it's done in partnership with institutions across the state. In the Twin Cities, our partner is University of St. Thomas. And already before the violence of the last week unfolded, we had increased resources pretty significantly in those SBDCs, and St. Thomas had hired an additional 17 consultants to provide technical assistance to businesses. So the timing in that way, was fortuitous in the sense that they have already expanded their capacity to help small businesses respond. And so we'll be working very closely with those SBDCs and with Legal Corps for making resources available. The last thing I'd mention is we have a dislocated worker program at DEED. We know that it's not just the business owners that are struggling mightily, but of course the workers who they employ, who are, if they weren't out of work before for COVID, now certainly are, if the shop or business had been destroyed. And so our dislocated worker program is looking at what we can do there to help with job resources and transitional resources and training to help workers find their next step at this time and provide whatever help that we can through that existing program. But again, those are just a few things. We don't pretend to sort of have the roadmap for this yet. We need to listen to the needs before we fully grok it. And it's not just DEED, of course, too, with many of the insurance concerns that are out there. We're working closely with our friends at Commerce. But I think most importantly with all of you and with the legislature. And I see Representative Mahoney and Noor and others on. These are districts that they live in. They've been very kind to our department and helping us understand some of the deep concerns there. And we're looking forward to more and more partnership on that front. So it's an unprecedented time, and it's going to require an unprecedented response, and it's going to have to be done together. So I say our colleagues in the Senate are engaged as well. I know that Senator Pratt and many of the members of the Jobs Committee are engaged on this too. So we're looking forward to a really bipartisan step to take here. And, with the session coming up next Friday, I think no time like the present to really use that moment to look at additional tools. Madam Speaker, with that, I might shift the tone a little bit to our COVID-19 response, if that's all right with you.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Well, again, I think it's been a couple of months of responding, rebuilding, and reacting, and trying to reimagine what we can do as a state to both keep our economy stable, but also look to what the next chapter of Minnesota's economy looks like. And so I'd like to use my time today to do is just to walk through a little bit about how DEED has administered the portions of the Federal CARES Act that affect unemployment insurance, that affect unemployment insurance for independent contractors, that affect our work with Small Business Administration. I'll walk through you a little bit of what we've done there. I want to talk to you about 2 state programs that we passed in partnership with all of you, the Small Business Emergency Loan Program and the Small Business Loan Guarantee Program. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about some of the conversations that Representative Mahoney, myself, Senator Pratt, and others in the jobs committees have been having around our response to an additional round of loans that we would like to be able to make to small businesses using state funding. So I'll start with some of the federal work here. And again, I think we all know that the important thing to focus on in these kinds of crises is taking advantage of every federal dollar that we can. State dollars are never enough, never even in the percentage range of enough. And that's for all the reasons we know. States can't print money, we can't go into debt. So we've got to be smart as a state and take advantage of those federal benefits. So that was really our first area of focus at DEED, was how to take advantage of those federal benefits. Unemployment insurance, of course, has been the bedrock program. It is a federal program, but it is funded by states, as you all know. And the stress that program has experienced across the country is enormous. Here in Minnesota, we have seen more applications in the past 2.5 months than we saw in all the last 4 years put together. Or if you want to put it another way, we've had more applications for UI in the past 10 weeks than we had in the prior 214 weeks. So this has been an expansion the likes of which our unemployment insurance program has never seen. The latest numbers are that we have had about 740,000 people apply for unemployment insurance since March 16th. And I'm proud to say that our program integrity has not been compromised. Despite this huge influx of applications, we have never gone down, we have never crashed, and you've seen that happen in program after program after program across the country. And that's really in large part due to the fact that Minnesota has a long tradition of a really stable and strong program. And with our seasonal economy, we've been able to build some of the technology tools that allow for sort of ramping up and ramping back down when the winter months hit. And I think some of that history of our program establishing that kind of credibility and response really served us well here. But the stress really has been enormous. We've increased our employees in that program by about 100. We've had an increase in the number of servers that we use, of course, to keep the website up and moving. We've greatly expanded the number of hours that we're open to take in applications. We've added Sunday as an additional day every week that we take in applications. And we've had to make some unique shifts to how we monitor our call center to ensure that we can still handle the volume of calls that come in, albeit at clearly much higher wait times than before. I know many of you have heard very rightly from your constituents frustrations about that. We do have a system for which the entire application can take place online at uimn.org. But people like to hear a voice, especially at the moment when they're most vulnerable. And there are certainly problems that simply you get vexed by and you can't figure out on the website. So that call center is still open. We've had to make some adjustments for different concerns to come in on different days so we can actually manage the call wait times. But it's head stable, and if you're patient, we can get to your call. And that's been a thing that we've had to navigate and we'll continue to focus on. So, the state program has expanded. We've handled the load pretty well. There's always challenges. But I think the big shift here, of course, has been those federal benefits. And the CARES Act really was able to expand what we're able to do with unemployment insurance. We, as of March 27th, had an opportunity to expand both the length of unemployment insurance benefits, the amount of benefits, and who got those benefits. I'm going to walk through each of those quickly to give you an understanding of what exactly took place. The first major change was just additional weekly compensation, or what you might call a top-off. This is what everybody has heard much about. It's this extra $600 per week that will last through July 31st. We were one of the first states in the nation to add that benefit to our system, and it goes on top of the whole, excuse me, the average amount that an individual worker got. So you usually get 50% of your income up to a max of about $740 a week. Add 600 on top of that, and it's a pretty significant top off to help workers get through this moment. Again, all federal money, but administered through our program. Second, we added an additional 13 weeks of eligibility through the end of this year. And that's important because if you're a worker who is unemployed and then the pandemic hits and you're almost at the end of your benefits for that year, boy, you're looking at a pretty short ramp to get additional money. And so that extension of 13 weeks, which applies to everyone, but most pressingly needed by those who were near the end of their benefits, was also administered very quickly by our department. I think we were the first in the nation on that one as well to add that benefit into the package. And then the last benefit the federal government added, and I think it's been one of the ones most talked about, is expanding the program itself to include people who usually wouldn't be eligible. And that's self-employed individuals, independent contractors, those who don't, whose employers don't pay into the system or who they themselves may not have paid into the system, but for whom this crisis is hurting just as much as any other worker. And that was a much more complex benefit to integrate. It was really like standing up an entirely new program. And the reasons for that are quite detailed. I won't bore you with all of them, but I'll just say this, that the concerns around fraud and tracking previous income in order to determine the benefit amounts were significant. And so that one took longer than we would have liked, longer than any state would have liked. You heard about that from your constituents. We heard about it from Minnesotans. We were still in the top 3 or 4 states in the country to institute it. But it was a big lift to make that shift. And we had to do some innovative partnerships with our friends at the Department of Revenue and elsewhere to track and ensure that we prevent fraud and get those payments out swiftly. So all 3 of those major programs are now underway. We have paid over 100,000 self-employed Minnesotans unemployment insurance benefits since this started. That's a stunning number. So this is just those who would have otherwise gotten the money are now being paid. That's 100,000 Minnesotans that we've reached with these payments. So the program has been significantly expanded. It has been augmented by these federal dollars, for which we've taken advantage of every penny. And policies continue to shift as this evolves. And in many ways, that's a good thing. The federal government has told us, for example, recently that if you're a reimbursing employer, in other words, you don't pay taxes into the system, but you then just reimburse the system when an employee does go on unemployment insurance. These are often governments, churches, nonprofits, what have you. Those reimbursing employers will have 50% of their reimbursements picked up through December 31st. So again, this impacts Indian tribes, nonprofits, government entities, what have you. We've received this guidance recently and are working to implement it. I know you've heard from a lot of nonprofits and civic organizations in your districts about this, and I wanted to share that we're actively working on the reimbursing employer issue as well. So that kind of sums it up for UI, and I'm sure there's more questions. We'll save it for that moment. I want to talk also about the small business administration programs, these federal resources that the SBA put into play for small businesses. And again, we had to move really quickly to get a disaster declaration in place to gather the data needed to do that. We did that in about 48 hours early on, and we're able to quickly take advantage of the programs that exist. You've heard about these from business owners, I'm sure, but just as a brief summary, one of the programs is called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, or EIDL, as you hear people refer to it. EIDL loans can be up to $2 million. That first payback is deferred for 12 months. The whole thing can be done online. Interest rate is 3.75% for small businesses, for nonprofits 2.75%, 30-year term, so a pretty lengthy term on that. And those loans can be used to pay fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills that exist as well. One of the unique components of that program was a disaster loan advance for up to $10,000. This is a completely forgivable advance, so it's essentially $10,000 for you to use very quickly. As part of that application, you could receive it through your EIDL application. And even if you were to decline the overall EIDL loan, you can still get that $10,000 advance. So we moved very quickly to get as many Minnesotans to take advantage of that as possible. As of May 31st, we just looked at the numbers. Minnesota had received 9,742 EIDL loans, totaling $801.7 million. So a lot of Minnesota businesses took advantage of this program. And, one of the things that we're lucky for in our state is that we have the largest number of SBA approved lenders in the country. 400 banks in Minnesota are approved to give SBA loans. So in many ways, we are positioned pretty well to take advantage of money really quickly. And we received per capita more loans than I think all states, but I want to say 2. So we were in that top 5 number again in terms of taking advantage of some of these funding streams quickly for small businesses. The other program I'm sure you've probably heard even more about is the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. This is, of course, designed to try to save as many jobs as we can by providing a direct incentive for small businesses to keep workers on their payroll. If you kept workers on your payroll for 8 weeks, SBA would forgive a portion of that loan that was used for payroll. Up to 100% of it could be forgiven, in fact. And there were 2 different rounds of this program, as you know. Second round focused primarily on agricultural businesses. Minnesota received through the end of May 92,000 loans in the PPP program, totaling $11 billion. $11 billion came into our state through PPP to help protect people's jobs. There's still another $139 billion loan dollars remaining available overall in the nation. Average loan size in Minnesota is about $121,000. And again, 400 lenders did that program all across the state. By the way, the whole system is set up to be to be spread out geographically. So businesses across the state were able to take advantage of this program. And really the only requirement is that your business had to be 500 employees or less. That's kind of the SBA's definition of a small business. That program has received a lot of criticism and debate, as you've all seen. Again, it's a federal program. DEED does not administer this. The local SBA office administers it. They're doing a great job. They're working hard at it. You probably all follow the news. Representative Phillips working to expand the length of time through which the program will need to be administered, and the requirements that come with it. He's been successful getting that through the Senate as well, and it's on the president's desk for signature at this point. So we'll see if that expands that program a little bit in terms of forgiving the time, because I think as more businesses have remained at peril for longer than maybe the program anticipated, additional extensions are needed. So those are sort of the federal programs. I'll turn next to the state programs. And again, many of you know these because we partnered with you on them to create them. The small business loan programs that we created are not anywhere near the scale of the federal government's programs, but we thought it important to do everything we could to use some state funding, primarily early on, so we could get money quickly to businesses, because the federal programs generally just take a little bit longer. So if we didn't move quickly to get some state dollars going, we were concerned that businesses might not make it or might not get what they need in that kind of bridge period of time. So the first program was a small business emergency loan program. This program had $30 million in it, and you could take out loans between $2,500 and $35,000. These loans were 0% interest. We used an existing loan network across Minnesota that we used for a program called the Emerging Entrepreneurship Loan Program. So a lot of these lenders focused on communities of color, communities in greater Minnesota, and any business who was affected by the governor's executive orders 2004 and 2008, which shut down a lot of businesses early to prevent the spread of COVID, were eligible for those loans. We've made about 967 loans. Almost all the $30 million has now been spent. You can see the locations of where those loans went in your member packets. And lenders have, for the most part, moved really quickly to get that money out. Some lenders were more successful than others. Average loan size was about $26,740. So most people went to the higher band of that range possibility. And there was only a very small admin cost that was used. We've been asked a lot about kind of the demographics of who received the money. We didn't require and don't require, via the way the statutes are set up for that Emerging Entrepreneurship Loan Network, the designation of demographic information when you apply. However, in talking with our lenders, just sort of anecdotally and looking at the types of businesses that applied, we estimate that about 30 to 35% of the businesses who applied for and received those SBEL loans were owned by people of color. And we used a lot of conversations with our loan networks to come to that estimation. The second program we put into play was a small business loan guarantee program. This was essentially a way to try to get private lenders to get more engaged in lending to small businesses at a difficult time when the risk is clearly higher, because the default rate would be expected to be much further north of a traditional default rate. We put into play $10 million that is still in play. We estimate that will leverage about 20 to 25 million from private banks to ensure that we can get them engaged in lending. As of now, this program, I would say, has been as successful or as rapid as the other program. That's somewhat understood given the risk that private lenders have to face. The guarantee was only for 80% of the capital, not the full 100. We've done about 34 loans of about $4.4 million. in that program. $6.5 million remains in that appropriation, although there's still some loans in the pipeline, so we'll see. Average loan there has been around $123,000. Again, there's no limits on that one. It's a private bank's area of focus. And then in addition to that small business loan guarantee program, we also allowed cities to have some more flexibility in how they use some of their loan pools for service providers in their networks and cities that are connected to states. So we've had a lot of cities that have engaged through additional loans that we've made possible through some changes that we made to our loan structures. So those are the two state programs for small businesses. And I think just lastly, in terms of what we're working on now, Representative Mahoney, Representative Stevenson, and of course our colleagues over in the Senate have been working at length on a program focused on small businesses for a kind of round 2 of that program that I just discussed a moment ago. I think it's clear at this point that it's grants, not loans, that people need. And so the focus has been on a grant program that we would put together. I think we're very near the end of these details and expect to have something very soon. This is $60 million that we're leveraging from CARES Act funding to the states. And so it is CARES Act funding that we received that we'll be using for this program. $30 million of that program will go to initiative foundations to serve greater Minnesota businesses, $30 million to nonprofits in the metro area to serve metro area businesses. So we're covering the state. There are some specific carve outs for really small businesses. So small businesses of six full-time employees or less, that will have 18 million carved out for that. 10 million carved out for minority business enterprises, at least 2.5 million for veteran-owned businesses, 2.5 million for majority women-owned businesses, 2.5 million for operators of privately owned permanent indoor retail spaces, ethnic markets, what have you. This is a carve out that we have as well. And so we're making sure we can get this money moving really quickly. And again, grants are what's needed at this point, not loans. So, we'll do some unique things there to ensure that it's fair. I mean, we'll use some lottery systems, other typical tools that are used when you have a grant system in place. And here, the maximum amount you can get of a grant is $10,000. You got to have 50 full-time employees or less. And obviously you have to be in a place where you've experienced economic hardship from COVID-19. If you've already gotten an SBEL loan, you wouldn't be eligible for this program. We're trying to expand the number of businesses that we can reach. And I think we've had some good work finalizing the language on this too. So more underway. I'm sure more underway when we come back into the special session. I'll stop there. I'd love to hear your questions. Thanks again for having me. And just want to thank you all for the partnership. DEED is blessed to have such thoughtful legislators of both parties across the state who have worked with us and advised us at this time. And we're very grateful for that. So thank you.
I'm sure you don't feel blessed at all stages in the negotiations. If you could just speak a little bit to the executive order process, that is, as you know, an area that's caused a lot of consternation for small businesses, with some folks feeling, look, we totally get it. There's a pandemic, there's germs, and you've got to do these things. And other folks feeling like the economic devastation is not coming from the virus, but it's coming from government action. So if you can just speak a little bit to how the administration has made those decisions, that I think would be helpful. And then we'll go to member questions.
Yeah, great question, Madam Speaker. I think from the beginning, we have felt like you couldn't just have a public health only response to this crisis. And so the model that the governor built did not just take into consideration data from the Department of Health, but also data from DEED and data on just overall societal well-being. And that kind of three-legged stool of societal well-being, social distancing, and public health have been the three key factors that he has used to evaluate every step of this process along the way. By slowing down business in the state and slowing down social activity and keeping Minnesotans at home, we have saved thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. There's just no question about it. All the data bears that out. And every state is going through this same process of which businesses are critical, which are not. When do you stay at home? When do you get out? And of course, the social engineering is extremely frustrating and challenging for everyone involved. I think at every step of the way, the decision that we've tried to make is how can we move in as a methodical way as possible that prioritizes public safety, but realizes you're never going to fully limit the spread of this virus. You can't just say health is the only criteria and let's move forward. And I think you've seen that in everything the governor said and the steps that we've taken. These are decisions that are very difficult. We realize not everyone agrees at every step. I think most of you know by now that later today at today's press conference, we'll be discussing the next step in this journey. What we have done in the last month or so has set out kind of the next successive phases that are coming, so the businesses have a little bit more predictability. And that's really what they need, is a sense for what the next phases are and ultimately when. That timing is the critical question. And I just want to say this, that Minnesota businesses of this era in 2020 will be owed a debt of gratitude for the rest of our history as a state for helping stop the spread of this virus by shutting down. And I know it's been not just a difficult decision, but in many ways it's been a dire one. But we are grateful for that. And we know that it has come at an extraordinary cost. And we also know that we've got to get the economy moving again, even to fight this virus. But the time that has been bought by putting a pause on areas of commerce in which that social contact is consistent and unpredictable has been just incredibly valuable for us as a state. So more to come on that, but I think obviously a pressing economic issue that underlies all of this is just how much of our economy we can get moving and how quickly, while not having flare-ups and public health considerations that would require us to dial back. So.
Thank you, Commissioner. So we have a number of members with questions. First, we'll go to Representative Listlegard and then Representative Jurgens. Representative Listlegard.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And I especially want to thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, for allowing us to have this platform where the whole state and the region gets to be heard. I think that's extremely important. And I want to thank the administration. This is unprecedented times in so many different ways that it's just going to change the state of Minnesota and hopefully for the better. And I know there's a lot of resources out there to be helpful, but we do have concerns. And I know that you have concerns for small businesses. But the challenges that we face, and I think you identified some of them, that if the very people are getting the $600, which is $15 an hour, they're also getting unemployment. No one has came to me and said that they don't have individuals, that they don't have resources. My fear is the very businesses that they work at aren't going to be there to go back to. And then you need them resources that those businesses pay for. They pay the property taxes, they pay the sales taxes, they pay the income taxes. We have to have these jobs. And I see this from a regional perspective. That's my fear, is that we are painting one brush. We don't have the cases in certain districts that don't have the population density. And so I'm here today, and I have some testifiers. Obviously it's no secret the iron range is up and down. The majority of our taconite plants are down. Our businesses are struggling, and there's nowhere to go. And we're offering loans. These places, why? I don't believe that they should be taking a loan out. Why would they have to take a loan out when they didn't do anything? We need to transition into grants, and that's why I'm very thankful that the Speaker, and we're starting to move that way, and so is the Senate. I know that you guys made an effort with the 25% outside. It doesn't work in Greater Minnesota. A lot of places, they don't have it set up. So not only don't they don't have the money, they've lost. They don't have the employees because they're getting the $600 and the unemployment. And then they're being asked to make an investment to create an outdoor temporary spot with limited resources. Then they're asked to get the employees to come back, give up their income that they're currently getting, open up 25% and it rains outside, for bars and restaurants that have to plan for their workforce and their meals. That's why in certain areas, especially in Greater Minnesota, we're not set up that way. We're not designed that way. And that's where I'm pleading with you, whether it's a statewide or it's a regional, to take into account the effects that some of these decisions make. And I know it's not your call, your deed, but at some point, that $600 unemployment from the feds, that's wonderful. And so with the state, but that is going to run out, and we have to have the jobs to go back to. And that's my biggest concern. So you guys are doing an outstanding job. And I appreciate it. Madam Speaker, thank you so much for allowing this to happen in your leadership. So I guess my question would be,
go ahead.
My question is can you open up? That would be my ask, that the governor take into serious consideration to open up, not just outdoors, but allow business to open up, and then also transition from loans to grants, but can we make some of them loans that they received forgivable? Because when you said from the Fed's PPE, well, these businesses aren't open, so their employees aren't there. And I believe it's Sunday, you're going to hear from a testifier that they have this gigantic loan hanging over their head because they couldn't hire their employees back. So I think that the feds are working on that, but those are some of the challenges. And we need your help. So,
Yeah.
Commissioner.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Representative Lislegard, I hear you. I hear you. And I think that the urgency that is in your voice is in the voice of, at this point, hundreds, maybe thousands of businesses that I've spoken with directly about the challenges that we face across the state, that the governor has spoken with too, that Commissioner Malcolm has been in touch with. We are hearing from all different types of industry just how difficult the situation is and just how untenable it is for much longer. And I think, at every step of the way, we've tried to make a move that is at least doable for some, knowing that it is not doable for all, and that there's very serious and real fairness questions all along the way, right? For example, when we first had to keep critical businesses open so that society could function, that left the Walmarts open, but the Main Street closed. That didn't seem very fair, but we had to make sure that people could get the supplies they needed to survive. And so at every step of the way, there's been challenges on realizing that we have to make decisions that are not perfect, but that prioritizes as much public health and economic security as we can at the same time. The moment in time we're at in right now is, I think, to the point of your statement, is critical. And we know that without moving into phase 3, we're going to see businesses, increasing number of businesses cease to exist and not be able to have the jobs that are there for workers. So we do feel that sense of urgency. Again, you'll hear more about that later today in terms of the next steps in our plan. But I agree with you that this is a critical situation and we need to get business moving again. And I'll say that from the beginning, we've had a large percentage of the workers in the state able to work. At the current level of executive orders, 98% of Minnesotans are allowed to go to work. Now, that does not mean 98% of Minnesotans are working, but the percentage of workers that aren't allowed to go back to work by the current restrictions is quite small compared to the state. But that does not mean they're any less significant than workers who are out there. And so I think it is critical. To your point on UI, I think this is one where, the $600 top off was incredibly important for the individual economic security of an individual. If a person can go back to work and they are being asked to come back to work and there are not underlying health conditions or other factors at play, then that's what happens. It's not individual workers' choice in every single case. Now, a company has to make sure they have safety precautions in place. The individual has to make sure that they're not an at-risk individual. But I hear you on this concern about people sort of wanting to remain on unemployment insurance versus go in. What I hear from most Minnesotans is they want to get back to work when they can do so safely, if they can do so safely and the underlying health conditions and environment make that possible. But I hear you, this is tough, and it's tough across the state, and there are regional differences that we're taking a look at.
So just to recapture maybe some of what Representative Lislegard asked that you didn't have a chance to address is the restrictions on restaurant, and that being really feeling unrealistic in greater Minnesota. I think two things that I heard Representative Lislegard asking is, did you consider a regional approach, and are there changes coming to what's going on with restaurants? And has the administration heard that and taken that into account?
Yeah, look, we've been talking to restaurants at length, and we're talking not just a few, but a wide cross-section of those in the hospitality industry for months. And we did not harbor any illusion that outdoor seating was some, major win for the restaurant industry. It was better than nothing, though. Like you could have said nothing, or you could have said outdoor seating. Comparing the two, outdoor seating is better than nothing. It is not a solution. And many businesses have told us even before we announced it, that that's just not doable for me. The weather, the space, the fixed costs that go into getting started that can't be recouped by the amount of people that would come to an outdoor space. So I want to be clear, it was never the feeling of the administration that outdoor seating was like a huge win for restaurants, but it was a step on the dial at a time when we wanted to be able to take at least that step. As you'll see in phase 3, and has been public on that grid for over 2 weeks, or I think about 2 weeks now, in phase 3 means additional capacity for restaurants, including indoors. And so when we go through the details of what that means, you'll hear more. But I think we understand outdoor has challenges, and to your point, Representative, challenges even based on the part of the state that you live in. So we are focused on that, and we hear that, and have been in close consultation with the industry to get that right.
Representative Jurgens.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for being here today, Commissioner Grove. A few weeks ago, you attended a Zoom conference call with members of the Hastings Chamber of Commerce in my district, and there were no specific promises that were made to the bar, restaurant, gym, and CrossFit owners, but maybe it was blind optimism on their part. But many of those owners had hoped for more of an opening than what was announced a few days after that. I had several of them tell me they felt like a kick in the gut to learn that they could only serve customers outside, and gyms and CrossFit training centers remain closed. The notion that shutting down and restricting businesses is about public health is a fallacy at this point. I have a gym in my district. 70% of their business is trainer-led, so social distancing and sanitizing can be closely monitored. The business has already lost customers who now go to Prescott, and the owner doesn't know if or when her customers will come back after she's allowed to reopen. I have a CrossFit training center. They taped off 10-foot by 10-foot individual workout spaces. Each space has all the equipment that's needed, so they don't have to leave their individual space, and there's a 6-foot buffer zone between spaces. They sign up for class time online. They likely know who they'll be attending with them. Their start and end times can be staggered so they don't come in close proximity to anyone else. I have several Main Street bars and restaurants that have no outdoor seating or patio space. The city of Hastings worked with them to allow them to rope off parking spaces in the street to set up tables and chairs. In some cases, as we've already heard today, they've invested thousands to change their business model, and they don't even know if the customers will come back. And they have no idea if this forced investment will be needed for 2 weeks, 2 months, or longer. They know that customers might still choose to stay away, but at least they know they have a chance. A thunderstorm could send their customers running to their cars before they even get their meal, or they might just stay home. They know that the summer sun with no shade on the hot asphalt could prove more dangerous and as deadly as a virus. They hope the drivers in the cars driving by just inches from the diners are paying attention. Even with the outdoor seating that is allowed, you have limited them to 50 customers, regardless of space. Some restaurants have large patio areas and room to expand and could, with safe social distancing, easily handle 3 times that arbitrary one-size-fits-all restriction. One owner told me they have a group of customers who would meet every night after work, sit in the same chairs, and have a couple of beers before going home. Those people didn't stop meeting after work when the establishments were forced to close. They do it at somebody's house in the garage. Who knows if there's any social distancing or sanitizing? It's not keeping people safer. A friend of mine called me several times in March and April asking when barbershops are going to open because he was starting to look like Albert Einstein. When he opened up barbershops and salons to a limited number of customers, I called him. He said, thanks, but I got it taken care of. He learned of a barber that had guys coming over to his house for haircuts, up to 5 in there at a time. That wasn't keeping people safer. I have a business in my district with 12,000 square feet and 45 employees. They have a plan in place that have 10 employees return at a time with more than enough space to social distance, strict sanitizing, and safety protocols. But they're not allowed to return to their office and must continue to work from home just because they can. It's not safer than the employees who can't do their job remotely. They can return to an office. This isn't about safety and health. It's an arbitrary order. I talked to the owner of a catering business last night. They've lost 95% of their business, but a similar business in Wisconsin is thriving. Wedding venues are losing weekends they'll never get back. Their inventory is available dates. And if a bride pushes her wedding to next year, that's inventory the venue can't sell. It's lost. A young mother in my district died unexpectedly, and her family had to decide which 10 people got to attend the service in person to mourn her loss. Actually, it was 8 people in addition to her 2 young children. The governor and lieutenant governor for over 2 months distanced from each other for safety reasons. Recently, because we all want to see our leaders in a time of crisis, they changed and we saw them together. The virus didn't change, the priority did. So the notion that this is about public health, again, is a fallacy. We see Department of Health.
Representative Jurgens, I need to ask you to get to a question.
I'm getting to my question, Madam Speaker.
Okay, fantastic.
We see the Department of Health updates at 11 o'clock. Many of us post this on our social media and our constituents, for our constituents, some of them enter data into spreadsheets. So from that, I know that the numbers of cases are dropping. The day-to-day percentages are dropping. So here's my question. What specific criteria are you using to determine when remaining businesses will be allowed to reopen with fewer restrictions? Is it the number of positive tests, percent increases, deaths, hospitalization? And what data can our businesses track so that they have an idea of when they will be able to reopen?
Commissioner Grove.
Representative Jurgens, thank you for that. And we need to keep hearing those stories. And I think the stories of the businesses in your district are stories I've heard across the state. The governor's heard them as well, and they are real, and they are painful, and they are difficult to hear, and yet we need to keep hearing them. And I don't think anybody wishes COVID-19 came and wreaked upon this state and this country and this planet the destruction that it has. I do not agree that this is arbitrary. I do not agree that public health has not been at the center of this struggle. And I shudder to imagine if we had not taken the swift, decisive, thoughtful, and strong action that this governor took to ensure we protected Minnesotans across our state from the most devastating pandemic that we have seen in our lifetimes. I do understand the economic devastation that our businesses have faced. I am full of gratitude, as is the governor, every day for the sacrifices that businesses, workers, and Minnesotans have made to ensure that we had time to prepare to ensure our healthcare system can handle the crisis that we face. And when I spoke to your constituents at your town hall, you're at the city chamber meeting, I really enjoyed that conversation because I got to hear more stories from your district. You know, the optimism that is out there for any business that wants to start is a very real thing. And in discussing what that future might look like in order that we can ensure we put the guidelines in place to make sure that future is possible, any mention of a possible opening certainly does and continues to get every business's hopes up. And we understand that and have worked very hard to moderate expectations at a time when that's almost impossible to do. But I'll tell you this, we want to keep working with you. We want to keep working hand in hand to get this right. We have to make sure that when we open up this economy at every step of this dial, every turn of this dial, every stage of this process, we do so in a way that consumers are confident about going back in and engaging in commerce, that healthcare and safety are top priorities such that customers actually show up, and that we don't see hotspots or spikes that then force us to shut things back down. That would be even more devastating for our economy than the alternative. And so we will continue to work hard on that in partnership with you and with others and with businesses across the state whom we talk to every single day. Your question was around health indicators that are most important. Some of those that the Commissioner of Health and the Department of Health will tell you include the percentage of tests that are positive, the testing rate itself across the state, community spread. So, for example, people who can get that disease without having been in direct contact with someone who had it, the rate of new cases that happens over every 7 days, and hospitalizations in that threshold. The last thing we want to see is people in the streets unable to get on a respirator or in an ICU bed because we don't have the hospitalization capacity that we need. For each of those 5 things I just mentioned, there are very specific metrics on there that you can find at mn.gov/COVID-19 that show you what the clawback measures are and what the considerations are. But there are very clear health guidelines in place here to help us manage the conflict. And in concert with looking at the need for economic growth and stability, these are the decisions the governor has to make. So thanks for your question. Thanks for the urgency and thanks for those stories. Please keep advocating for those businesses and letting us know what you're hearing and pushing us to do more and better. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, members, I know we have a couple of members that have additional questions for the Commissioner, but we really need to hear from the small businesses who have agreed to talk to us today. And so we know that Department of Employment and Economic Development staff will be participating in this hearing throughout to take into account the input that they receive from the small businesses that's delivered here today. I just want to thank you for your testimony, Commissioner Grove. And then we'll move on at this time to Alyssa and Pat Horan. I want to say that they are from the sawmill in the city of Virginia. Yes, a place where I have eaten, mostly with Tommy Rukavina, and also with my friend Dave Lissegard. So we need to work to get them unmuted.
think we're unmuted now. Can you hear? Okay. Thank you very much for having us. I guess just to start out, you know, we were shut down on the, I think it was the 18th. So it's been 2.5 months and it's been an incredible struggle. I think one of the things that we wanted to kind of touch base on today was we did not need a loan. We don't want a loan, but we are being forced to have to take a loan to continue doing business. I guess our business overall is down about 90%. We did not have a drive-through. We are not fast food. We are a fully functional bar restaurant. We have a catering license as well. So we had the opportunity to do many offsite events, which we lost out on all of those due to social distancing. So we were forced to lay off 33 employees. We had a staff of 39 on the 17th and a staff of 6 on the 18th of March. You know, one of the things as well, you know, with opening these decks and having the outside capacity of 50, as Mr. Juergens had said, we do have the space to have more people outside. So I guess I'm just confused as why there can't be a capacity or percentage of capacity versus a set number based on your size of establishment. And I'll let my husband talk.
Well, and kind of switching gears a little bit, and I'll throw some numbers out there. Just in anticipation of throughout this, the different times that we thought we were going to be able to potentially open at a level, whether it be 25%, 50%, what is needed for PPE. Well, we're worried that, say we got a word on a Thursday that we could open the next Monday, there's no way we would have been able to get PPE equipment in time to be able to go by those guidelines. So we literally guessed. We have spent thousands and thousands of dollars just in anticipation of what we can do and to what capacity when it would happen. I will tell you that throughout all of that, taking lost revenue and everything out of it, out of our pocket, we have spent over $60,000 in just trying to anticipate being able to be open and to what that's going to be. We don't have the ability to not be all in. Our personal financial, I guess everything we have has been reduced. Our future has been changed. We are approaching in lost revenue close to $700,000. And this is the time of year that we make the majority of our money and the majority of everything to be able to get through the slow times, which are November, December, January, February. And the other concern is that these loans that are out there that we have received, that we have not touched, because we're hoping we don't have to, but if we need to, these loans are going to increase our monthly expenses at our slowest time of year, and we are not going to be back at 100% of what we were last year at this time. And we don't know what that's going to be. We don't know if in November or December, we're still going to be limited at capacity. So if it's twofold, if some of the people don't come out anymore, number one, and we're limited in capacity and our expenses increase by thousands of dollars, I will tell you that right now, our PPP, which we did receive, and I know there's potential for that to be expanded right now, but as of right now, our 8-week snapshot ends on Sunday, and then it turns into a loan. We have a 6-month deferred payment. Well, on that loan, it's an 18-month loan in right now. So in November, that's over an $11,000 payment for us. So these are some of the things that are worrisome with all the unknowns and things of that nature.
I think the PPP program was very good. It for a lot of businesses, but I think unfortunately it doesn't help restaurants, especially in the state of Minnesota with being forced to close. You can't call back 39 people to do nothing. So that's our biggest concern right now is, if this ends up turning into a loan for us, there's no point in, it might as well give it back because we're still only allowed to be open outside for dining, and we're only allowed to be at 50 people.
We ended up adding a complete deck system to be able to accommodate this. We had a week to do it. So working with the city, it had to be a temporary permit. So right now, that $20,000 deck, we have to tear down within 6 months. And I know, these are just things that we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. The other part with the unemployment, the majority of the individuals within this industry, the bar restaurant industry, this is a stepping stone for them. This is not a career. And so we are already finding it hard to get individuals back due to the amount of money they are making on unemployment. And within our region, it's not like after this, we're going to have an influx of people to choose from. Alyssa and I have oftentimes talked about potentially opening up another bar, restaurant, or something. And one of the biggest stopgaps, or why we don't, is being able to hire people. That's one of the biggest things that we run into. So with this, and it's great, this program, but from our industry in this region, that additional money till right now, July 31st, is hindering our ability to get people to come back.
I would say that our average employee currently on unemployment with the additional 600 is making approximately about $1,000 a week right now. So to get that individual to come back and work with us, they're making more money sitting on a couch than they are coming into work.
Thank you for your testimony. Go ahead.
Oh, the last thing I want to say, and we completely get it as far as having to, trying to do everything from a state and federal level to contain this pandemic. And we agree with it. However, it's very difficult as a small business owner to go into a big box store. And sure, we have to go there too. But if we are basically shut down, why aren't there limitations on there? Why isn't it just essential items? You can go to one of these big box stores and people are spending hundreds of dollars a day on decorations because they're bored and they're redecorating their house. How is that essential? So why is it that only us are limited?
I think I know the restaurant and bar industry has been absolutely brutalized. And I think that one thing just to take into consideration is regional versus metro. And I feel that up here, we are ready to open. We have invested hundreds, thousands of dollars into proper PPE for our employees. And we're ready to go. We're ready to open. And I think at the very least, I know that we're talking about different phases, but I think that it should be a number, a percentage versus something that's set at 50 people. And a lot of restaurants in our area do not have patios. They don't have the ability to have a vacant lot next to them where they can put tables. So I guess I'm just speaking as for the whole industry in this area to allow us to open dine-in.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I I think I speak for all Minnesotans when I say that our heart just absolutely breaks for especially the restaurants and bars and the hairdressers out there, the folks who have been most hit by this completely shut down. And I think that what Commissioner Grove said, he put into words something I've been thinking and feeling, but I didn't really have the words for, which is that we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to you for being really on taking the brunt of the burden of stopping the spread of this disease and that your actions have saved lives. At the same time, as legislators, we don't think it's fair, right? Well, I hear you loud and clear. This is not fair. $700,000 in lost revenue and $60,000 out of your pocket is something that is a burden that's unfair to requests that you bear on behalf of the state of Minnesota. So the question for us then is, how do we help you and how do we get you to as close as we can? I mean, I don't think there's any way for us to pay back all the businesses, all the suffering that they've endured. But are some of the programs we have out there helping, and can we increase them? I mean, I think you heard the commissioner talk about the $60 million that we're hoping to shoot out pretty fast when we come in on June 12th, and that we're going from a loan approach to a grant approach. So I guess my question for you would be, did you apply for any of the state programs yet? And if you did, what your experience was like?
Yes, and we have received monies. We have literally put the different, like the EIDL loan. We have literally opened accounts and put it in there and haven't used it. We're hoping we don't have to. And so the different things we've received. However, you know, again, we didn't need a loan 3 months ago. And from a business standpoint, we didn't do anything wrong.
We've also paid for, you know, all of our licensing, you know, catering license, our food licensing, our alcohol serving licensing, which has been idle now for, the insurances, you know, for 2.5 months. And so I think maybe there could be some consideration for that period of time without being able to utilize the licensing that you've paid for. And
the other biggest thing is yeah, we will not, and we can't take out any more loans. We need grants at this point to try to offset what we have lost at, you know, no fault of our own.
And then lastly too, I again, and I know I've already stressed this once, but I just think that northern Minnesota should not be compared to a metro area. I think we've done a really great job up here with practicing our social distancing. If you look at the cases within the St. Louis County region versus cases in the metro, we are far, far, far less. And as restaurants, bars, hair salons, we're ready to open. We're ready to go. And I think we should be allowed the opportunity and not compared to the rest of the state.
Question for you on your insurance. If you have been in contact with your insurance provider and if there is a partial rebate, I, out of the blue, got a check from my car insurer. Like, we know you're not driving, here's some money. And I suppose it's to try to prevent me from asking for more money. But I wonder if you have had any conversations with your insurer, because it does seem like, I hear you. There's a state piece here too, right? You paid some licensing fees for liquors and stuff. And I've made a note. I'm going to look into that because you're not getting the benefit of having paid those fees. So we can see if there's a refund opportunity there. But with regard to your insurance company, is that a conversation that you've had or that they've initiated with you at all?
That is something that we're currently working on because of the different insurances that are necessary from a bar standpoint. So it's a little bit different than, you know, just getting a 15% rebate for your car type thing.
Right,
So,
but if the insurance is so that if somebody gets drunk there and goes off and drives, but you're closed, you really have paid a premium for something that you don't need at that time.
Which is one of the biggest expenses in this industry.
Yep. Representative Baker has a question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Alyssa and Pat. I'm a restaurant guy myself. I really understand where you're at. I'm a state representative out here in Loma, Minnesota. Used to live up in International Falls. I know the Northwoods really, really well. Dave Lisgard, thanks for bringing these to us. Here's my quick comment is that I have been working with hundreds of restaurant operators around the state, along with my friend Heather Edelson, who has been doing a lot of good stuff. I think I have found it to be really a challenge myself to get, as a restaurant guy, a small business guy, to kind of penetrate that deed listening tool. And I'm grateful to be on today's call. I've been on a few other ones, but I will tell you, me as a legislator out here, I do not feel like my skills have been utilized very well because we don't have same powers set up right now in the state with giving the governor the emergency powers. It's really an important issue coming up in the next legislative session. And I'm wondering, either this is a question maybe for Dave too, Lisselgard, is that do we need to start opening that up a little bit so that we have more of a voice to how the decision gets made with the governor to help him understand our constituents in our districts of about 40,000 people around Minnesota. Do you think we should start sharing that load, Dave? And maybe to you, or maybe even just the Pat or Alyssa, if that's something that you're feeling the same way up there. But I just know that that's a really important item for us to discuss next Friday when we go to special session. I think our voices are not as heard as loudly right now. And I want to help the governor in making these important decisions by allowing you to open safely so we could get our economy running again. If you guys have any thoughts on that, I'd really love to hear from you on that, because we got to get open.
Representative Baker, I am certain we're going to have a very robust discussion, and I don't want members to be debating with each other on that topic here. But I'm very happy to hear from the testifiers from the sawmill your thoughts on that.
That would be absolutely fantastic. And again, a lot of the money that we have spent is anticipation of what our capabilities are going to be, what the guidelines are going to be. Alyssa and I have always prided ourselves on following the law. We're going to do whatever they tell us to do, but we need time to prepare for whatever that is as well. And so it's, for lack of a better term, I mean, throughout all this, we've been, throwing stuff against the wall and see what sticks and guessing to what we're going to be able to do. So absolutely.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Sure. And just to give a little response, Representative Baker, so Friday next week is not a moment in time where the Minnesota State Legislature is going to be, having the opportunity to take specific action with regard to specific areas of the state. If we were to take over the control of executive authority in dealing with the pandemic, we would have weeks and weeks of detailed hearings to come to decisions on who needs to do what, because we would have to hear from the public health and safety experts to make any of those decisions. So any action like that would actually delay opening of restaurants at this point in time. Commissioner Grove had to go to another thing. We do have deed staff and the deputy commissioner on the line, but what he said before he left was that there's a major announcement today at 2 p.m. And so I think what I have heard from the commissioner and from the governor is that he has heard from businesses loud and clear. And, as we've talked about, right, this very difficult balance between saving lives and understanding the devastation that restaurants have dealt with. And a burden that's far greater than any other business, other than perhaps the personal care services. Yes, I mean, you're sort of in the same boat together, right? But devastating losses and a part of the state economy that's so important to all of us. So we have one more question for Alyssa and Pat. Thank you so much, by the way, for making time today. Representative Dowd has a question, and then after Representative Dowd's question, we will go on to hear from Steve Peterson. Representative Dowd.
Thank you. Mine was just more a response to your comments about the legislature having hearings. We have actually had months and months to have detailed, lengthy hearings on public safety and on our reaction to COVID, and we have not done that. So we have shirked our responsibility to do that. And I just want to be on record here that I have been asking for that for months. I think we're finding out now that the modeling that the state is using to make these decisions is incredibly flawed. I think at the end of the day, it's more than likely the modeling will be off by a magnitude of 10 times. And I think Minnesotans are going to be wondering why we have destroyed our economy when the information we used to make those decisions was so flawed. And unfortunately, I think it was a missed opportunity for the legislature to dive into that data, to dive into this information, to have hearings, which we could have been doing for months, and we did not do that. So I'm very disappointed that that has not happened.
We've had a lot of conversations about this, Representative Dowd and I, and I'm sure we will continue to, of the whether the legislature is equipped for the moment at hand to take all the leadership responsibility of dealing with the pandemic, and whether we're capable of working together to make decisions quickly enough to impact Minnesotans' lives. I think on Friday, June 12th, we might have an opportunity to send $60 million of economic assistance to Minnesotans. And I hope that we will take the opportunity to get that money out. You know, we have $1.87 billion that we've received from the federal government sitting in the state of Minnesota's bank account. And Minnesota businesses, people like Alyssa and Pat, need and deserve that money. And so I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to ship that out fast. I know Senator Pratt and Representative Mahoney and Commissioner Grove, and also Republican House members and Senate DFL members are either very, very close or have a deal on that $60 million. So what would be nice from my standpoint is to show Minnesotans that we can take action quickly that has an immediate impact on their lives. With that, not Commissioner Peterson, maybe former Commissioner Peterson, but Steve Peterson from the city of Virginia, you are next on our agenda. Thank you so much to Alyssa and Pat from the Sawmill. Really appreciate your input.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we look forward to doing this again. If you want, we will make ourselves available at any time, any place.
Well, I think there's a good chance my husband and son are eating at your restaurant this weekend. They're trying to convince me I need to go up north, but I'm likely to be working too much, and I have a feeling they'll be there with Dave Lissegard. So thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before I get started here, I just want to thank all of you for the great work you've been doing during these unprecedented times. Certainly there's no playbook in all of this, and you've all been doing a great job trying to keep the state together and functioning as a unit. So a large thank you to that. And thank you to Pat and Alyssa also. They've been serving meals to all of our fire departments, police departments, healthcare workers during this whole pandemic on their own dime. And they didn't mention that, but I'm going to mention it because you've done a great job. I'm probably going to echo a lot of what Representative Lissegard, Representative Jurgens, and Pat and Alyssa said about what's happening here. But we didn't share talking points, believe me. A little background on me. I have close to 40 years of restaurant, bar, business experience. Served 2 terms on the city council in Virginia, 2 terms as mayor. As you mentioned, I was the economic development executive director for the agency. I retired 2 years ago, and my wife and I sold our establishment here in Virginia. It'll be 2 years in October. So I do have a little bit of experience in bar and restaurant operations. And what I'm doing now is currently working with the city of Virginia on a downtown renovation plan and doing some consulting for other range businesses. So I'm getting out and about, and I'm seeing the devastation that's happening in our communities. And, you know, when this first came out, the order first came out that the businesses had to close, I think most people were very receptive, understanding. They knew there was a problem, but they didn't anticipate this was going to go on in perpetuity. And now when you look at where we are today, there's more questions and uncertainty than I've ever seen before. And people are asking, and I'm hearing a lot of it, probably because of my experience, people are saying, where do we go from here? These small town establishments are, for the most part, the heart and soul of every community. You see them all throughout the Iron Range. And as was mentioned earlier by Pat or Representative Lislegard, that, you know, when the order came in that you could do outdoor patio seating, most of the bars, restaurants in downtown communities have no access to patio seating. I look at my prior establishment, the building went from the main street to the alley. There is no patio. There's no rooftop seating. These are old buildings that line the main streets. There's usually living quarters above them. You might be fortunate enough to put a table or two out on the sidewalk. I went by mine establishment yesterday. They had 4 tables out there. They're serving 12 people. You can't make it. It's not going to work. I hate to say it helps. It doesn't really help. It's Commissioner Grove said it's probably better than nothing. I may want to dispute that statement because I think it's just it's more of a burden to some of these folks. The day that we had June 1st came around, you said you could have outdoor patio seating. We had a lightning and thunderstorm come through the area. Now it cleared out later on, but how do you staff for that? How do you bring people in and say, well, come back when it's not raining? If you're sitting outside, your patrons aren't going to stay very long because they have no place to go. So all of these things work maybe in certain areas, maybe the metro. This isn't the metro. These are small towns that just can't operate under those guidelines. And again, it was mentioned, an example, I went to Walmart the other day to get mask material for my wife. She's busy sewing masks. I was literally bumping into people. They were socializing. 50% of them at best are wearing face masks. Other people are just talking, they're walking around the aisles. All the big box stores that we have here, and there's not a lot of them, but there's a few, they're packed. I had to park at the farthest end of the parking lot to get into Walmart. And you can't go have a burger and a beer. It absolutely makes no sense. When I looked at the number of cases in St. Louis County, and it was yesterday, I believe, per 1,000, we have 0.59 cases. Not even 1 case per 1,000. Now, one could argue that that's because we social distanced, we were closed, we did all the right things. But we've gone through now opening fishing season, which was, I believe, May 9th. That's long past the 14 days. I live on Lake Vermilion next to a marina. I couldn't get into my own driveway. The cars were lined up and down both sides of the road. They weren't all local people, trust me. There's been no increases because of that. We went through Memorial. There's been no increases because of that. We're still at a very low number. And our healthcare systems, my son is a paramedic, he's a battalion chief. They have plans in place in the event that we do have a spike, which we were blessed with being able to do that because we weren't blindsided like a lot of other places were. But if we do have a spike, they're ready. And you can always take that step back. I understand it's a serious pandemic. I think everybody does. But if we work with these local establishments, maybe set up a regional, call it what you will, a task force, a subcommittee, liaisons, to work with these local establishments and say, yes, you can open your doors, but you need to have social distancing. You need to have a plan in place to keep your bar restaurants clean. You need to maybe serve in plastic cups or plastic utensils or throw away disposable things. We don't want to burden the landfills, but temporarily, I think we can do some of this stuff and help these businesses. We are a very close-knit community on the Iron Range. As you know, Madam Speaker, you've been here. We have a unique area. We all kind of hang together. We all love each other. We support each other. July 4th, everybody in the world knows of the July 4th celebrations on the Iron Range. They're all canceled. Huge, huge blow to these businesses. If they can't get something going today, soon, a lot of them aren't going to make it. Many of them have closed already. They just threw in the towel. They said, we can't operate anymore. And if we start to lose the heart and soul of our communities, what do we have left? And so, again, I have no vested interest in any of the businesses. I'm not operating any of them. I'm just an old guy that sees what's happening in the community. I've spent my whole life here, And I would be really, really devastated personally to see these businesses go down. We're losing jobs. The healthcare Essentia just laid off 900 people. The mines are going down. Folks are used to coming into bars and restaurants, sharing their burdens, sharing their successes, sharing their joys in these small communities, and they can't do it anymore. And all you have in bar and restaurants is blue sky. There is no captive audience. They all sell Tito's vodka. If they can't be open, they're going to go someplace else where it is open. And once you lose those patrons, it's difficult to get them back. So I'm hoping that you all, the governor, the people that are in charge will listen and maybe take a step back and say, one size doesn't fit all. We can't put everybody in the same box. Let's not put a blanket over this whole thing. Let's work with individual, regional people and make something happen. So that's my story. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And again, thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you for taking the time. Really important that we hear from people all over the state. It looks to me like Dave Baker has his hand up, but I'm not sure if that's from before or if that's new.
Just a quick, yeah, it's a new one, Madam Speaker, and I think I wanted to address Mr. Peterson's comment. I think we're also fortunate to have the chair of the Jobs Committee here, Chair Mahoney, on the call with us. I sit on that committee, and again, he has worked really hard to try to get this $60 million or so out to Minnesotan small businesses and things. I've been working with him on that. It's getting better as it goes, but what we need to do, I think, is work towards getting our committee encouraging the governor to open up more quickly. So with the speaker's announcement that there may be an announcement later today, let's hope that's really good news. But if it's assuming that it might be a 25 or 50% opening for the inside, let's just say, what we then need to do is what do we have to do to get to that 100% as quickly and safely as possible? So Steve, your idea might have been we could launch these local task forces or maybe include our mayors to kind of give a sign off after an operator like Pat and Alyssa have operated for a few weeks, and maybe by the 1st of July or so, we can let them go to a 75 or 80 or 90% because they've demonstrated really good protocol. If we could do that locally, we'll take a lot of pressure off of DEED. There's no way they can do that. There's no way the Minnesota Department of Health can get to every business. So I hope that with Chair Mahoney or others, we can work together in a collaborative manner to get folks like Pat and Alyssa open up 100% as fast as they can to make what's left of the summer. So that is what I hope that our committee can continue to do throughout the summer to get help into DEED. So that was my comment, Madam Speaker, just to now once we hopefully get some good news, we have to get it ramped up as quickly and safely as possible. Thanks.
I think next we have Representative Winkler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this isn't necessarily directly to the testifiers unless they'd like to comment, but I just want to kind of reflect on what I'm hearing from your testimony. So first of all, I think we all didn't know at the beginning the course of this disease, how it would spread, what kind of factors would play into it, and a statewide shutdown to address an unknown spread was important. I hear you saying that there are regional differences, and I think so far we are seeing differences in how the disease is spreading, but we don't know the course of that in the future. It could be that rapid spread in more highly densely populated communities happens quickly, and that the spread in smaller towns or rural communities will happen later, but be just as devastating. That is kind of an unknown. And this isn't what you're saying, this is my reflection. So there's a lot of unknowns still about where we're going. We do know that about 1,400 Minnesotans are dead so far from this disease. And we know that it's going to continue spreading, but how it spreads, where it spreads, and in what timeline it spreads are really still up in the air. So there clearly have emerged some regional differences, and I think that's important to acknowledge and I think find some way to calibrate our state response to recognize those differences. It may be that it's going to devastate smaller communities down the road, and you're going to need a more active state response later, while the metro area maybe has moved through the worst of its curve. We just don't know. The second thing, though, is that I also hear this concern about Hold on one second.
Sounds like there's truck action. I was able to mute while the coffee was grinding in the kitchen for some other member of my household. So
Okay,
back.
so
There we go.
the second question I have is, or thing that I've heard is, and I think this is fair, is that it's hard to sometimes see how the specific state policy is tied to a public health concern and what the connection is. So why it is that you can go to get essential supplies at Walmart, like groceries, or essential supplies to maintain your home or business at Menards. And while you're there, you can buy anything you want and do anything you want. And they aren't required to require customers to have masks. They're not required to limit capacity. And there's kind of wide open in some places and really totally shut down in others. And it feels like the result is arbitrary and unfair. And that if the feeling was more that everybody is sharing in the burden based on a really sound public health principle, and everybody clearly understood it, it would be easier to understand why this is affecting you, but not Menards, for example. I hear that frustration over and over again. And I think clear communication and understanding, connecting the public health need as we best understand it now to what the decisions are is important to at least help you feel like you're being treated equally and fairly in this situation. So I really hear regional differences and the need to connect the decisions to sound public health information and policy to how this is affecting you to be part. That doesn't help you financially, but it helps to better understand why these decisions are made, which I think you're entitled to understand.
Thank you, Representative Winkler. Folks, we have 4 more minutes allocated this morning. Any other member questions for the testifiers? If not, it's perfectly acceptable for us to end slightly ahead of schedule by a couple minutes. I just want to thank again, especially the owners of the sawmill for sharing your story. This is clearly a very painful time and hard to experience it, but also hard to come and talk about it. But your story really helps us to make better policy. And I think that none of us in the legislature, Democrats or Republicans, feel that the response has been perfect. And I don't think any of us would step forward and say that every step of the way that we completely understand and we completely agree with every decision that's been made. There's certainly different times we've expressed concerns to the administration and we continue to. Things like that Representative Listegard has advocated for a regional approach. Things like sharing more information, as Representative Winkler has talked about. And Representative Dowd actually, raises a very valid question about the legislature. We all, 201 of us, have a responsibility to be doing everything we can to minimize the pain of our small businesses that are bearing really the brunt of combating this virus in Minnesota. So to the extent we haven't done as good of a job as we can, I apologize, but I do want you to know we are all working as hard as we can to be as fast as we can in getting relief to folks and to getting things reopened as soon as public health allows. I don't think any of us are willing to accept deaths or suffering that can be avoided. And I think we're all, centered on the prioritization of human life, but at the same time, just rapidly moving to get people going again, as long as it's safe to do so. And also, finally, in closing, really the substance of the conversation here is to figure out how much help can the government give and how fast can we give it because of the enormous burden that people in the hospitality industry and personal services industries have experienced. So thank you, everyone, for participating today. Really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you in the future. I guess I'm so out of practice. Meeting adjourned.